Thank you so much for listening to the Silence So Loud podcast. We're so thankful for the people that have listened, for all the likes and all the comments being made. We just appreciate it. Want to start off by talking about the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones have been in the news recently. They're going to have their first album in 18 years. First album in 18 years, and I'm completely excited about that. The album is called Hackney Diamonds, and I could just go on and on talking about the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones, I don't know if you've ever seen them in concert live, but I'm sure you've heard how fantastic they play, but words cannot justify how good of a concert the Rolling Stones put on. I've had the blessing of seeing them a couple of times. I saw them at Ray J whenever they came about 2 years ago in October, and just a fantastic show. Can't say enough about them. Right off the bat, the Stones, if you're familiar with them, you know that they lost Charlie, who was basically the heartbeat of the band. Charlie just was one of those drummers. He kept so many things in line and just kept the rhythm of the Stones. I mean, I've read stories about how he would get in arguments with Mick, and Mick, you could just tell, respected Charlie so much. And when Charlie passed, there was that big fear that this could be it for the band. And I remember being afraid that, finally, the Rolling Stones are going to probably call it after Charlie passed. But lucky for all of us, lucky for the Stones, Charlie got to pick the person that he wanted to fill in if something happened to him. And he picked the drummer Steve Jordan, who played at the Tampa show that I went to in 2021. So he picked the drummer, and so far it's just kept going. And it was a great show. And when they started out the show, they did this tribute that they did on the whole tour where they played Charlie playing the drums to start out the show. And the beautiful thing about it is that the way that he played the drums on this video that they did is it was like a heartbeat. It was just a steady pace. It wasn't one of those drum solos that you see from one of these younger guys that's playing like the Tasmanian Devil and hitting the drum set, 100 miles per hour. It was just a steady beat. And they showed the video of Charlie, and you could just feel the emotion of the place, knowing that Charlie was never going to be on the stage with the Stones again. And like I said, I've seen them more than one time, and I was like, how is this going to go with just Mick, Keith, and Ronnie up there? But great show. Steve Jordan's doing an awesome job filling in, and we got just solid news that they're going to release their first album October 20th. First album in 18 years, October 20th. The album's name is Hackney Diamonds, which they mentioned other names that they did for the album. They're not even really worth mentioning. Hackney Diamonds is just a cool sounding album. Whenever you say Hackney Diamonds, that sounds like an album that I want to listen to. And according to them, Hackney Diamonds is a London band also, and I guess Hackney's kind of like a word like that you just say. I'm not quite familiar with London, but they just say Hackney over there. I saw Mick Jagger talking about that. And like I said, I could go on and on about the Rolling Stones and how I don't think that there can be another band that can replicate or even come near what these guys have done. I mean, I cannot believe it is the year 2023 and we are talking about a Rolling Stones album, and the song Angry has already been released. Awesome video. If you haven't checked it out, give it a look. They're playing it on college football. They're playing Angry. They're playing the Rolling Stones on college football in the year 2023. How many decades have we been talking about these guys? It's insane. And whenever I went and saw them in Tampa, I took my son, and they just came out on fire, playing Street Fighting Man, and then they backed it up with Get Off of My Cloud, and then they did a fan pick It was one of my son's favorite songs of the night. They had fans pick a song, and they played Faraway Eyes, and it was kind of like a country type Stone song, which I guess the new album, I don't want to spoil it, but they're saying that they're going to have some Hank Williams type songs and even like a Christian type song. And they're going to have some special features on the song with Sir Paul McCartney. Lady Gaga is going to be on there. Stevie Wonder is going to be on there. Another song that they did whenever I saw them in Tampa, a song that you could check out called Living in a Ghost Town. It's kind of about lockdown. It was about lockdown and the whole pandemic, and a song that I wasn't quite familiar with, but Living in a Ghost Town just stood out for me whenever I saw that. And the cool thing about Hackney Diamonds is it's also going to have two songs with Charlie Watts. He plays on a song called Mess It Up and another song, Live by the Sword. So you're going to have a couple of songs with Charlie on the drums, and then Steve Jordan's going to fill in. And I am so excited about this album coming out. I just can't say it enough. And if the Stones come to your town, go check them out. Like I said, it cannot be stressed of how good of a performance these guys put on. Mick Jagger, without a doubt, the greatest frontman of all time. I mean, he is a performer. I don't know if you remember her, but Anne Rice wrote those vampire novels, and she had that famous vampire called Lestat. Well, she should have used the name Jagger, because when you look at Mick Jagger, this guy does not age. I mean, I don't know what he's doing, but he is putting on the same shows that he was been putting on for the last, I don't know, 100, 200 decades, whatever they've been playing for. And Keith and Ronnie, man, they were just on point. Now, I will admit, on some of the solos, Keith, you know, he's dealing with arthritis at his age in both his hands, and some of the solos, you could kind of hear him being off a little bit. But I tell you what, Ronnie Wood, where we were sitting, he was just on point at the show that I went to. And I know I've already said it, and I can't stress it enough. Hackney Diamonds is coming out in October, and man, it's going to be good to hear an album, a brand new album from them after 18 years of not putting out an album. And I remember whenever I grew up, and I grew up a teenager in the, you know, late 80s, mid 90s, and back then, for some reason, there's many bands that I listened to, grunge rock, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, all those guys. But I remember I went through like Aerosmith, and I thought that Aerosmith was just the coolest band. And I remember there was this guy in the neighborhood that was kind of like the guy that just stood outside drinking on the driveway. And he's like, you kids love Aerosmith. All you boys love Aerosmith. And I have no knock on Aerosmith. I remember defending them, saying that Joe Perry and Steven Tyler, that they were, you know, really cool. But I remember this guy was like, oh, you know, you teenagers love Aerosmith, but when you become an adult, you love the Rolling Stones. And I never knew what that meant, because back then I was like, the Rolling Stones, who are those guys? Like, you know, I heard some of their music, but I wasn't like completely infatuated with it the way I am now. And I went to my first Stones show, and it changed everything. And I think that guy was right. He said, when you're a teenager, you love Aerosmith, but when you're an adult, you love the Rolling Stones. And I feel that way. And a cool thing about them also is, I remember Keith Richards said this. You hear these bands, and this is so annoying. You hear these bands where they say they're going on farewell. This is it. Michael Jackson even had a tour named This Is It, and it really was it, because he didn't make it. But if you hear these bands, they talk about their farewell tour, and to me, they're money grabbers, because you go, oh my gosh, this is it. This is going to be the farewell. If I don't buy this ticket, then I'll never get a chance to see this band or this artist ever again. And some of these guys have been milking this out since I was a teenager. They've been milking this out for the last like 20 years. But the Rolling Stones, from what Keith Richards has said, I mean, it could change, but he said that you will never see a Rolling Stones farewell tour. And he said they reek of trying to make money, which, okay, I know a Stones concert's very pricey, but it's worth every penny if you go. But he said that you will never see a Rolling Stones farewell tour. the attitude that they take is they do a tour, they see how they feel, they see where they're at, and then they just say maybe there will be another tour, maybe there will not be another tour. We're never going to say farewell tour. And another thing that I heard Mick Jagger say recently is that they genuinely like this album. That's why they're releasing this album. He said, we love these songs that we have made. I mean, think about it. They are the Rolling Stones. They don't need to release an album. They could just continue to release the greatest hits and live off the countless hits that they have given us. But to be doing an album at their age and just all brand new music, I cannot wait to hear it. And like I said, so excited. Hackney Diamonds coming out in October. And coming up, we're going to talk about some football. My friend Tony's going to be calling in. So stick with us, and we're going to talk about the NFL and talk about college football. All right, my friends, I want you to check out the Bunker Depot. That's Bunker Depot in Sefton, Florida. Their phone number is 813-816-2685. Address is 2004 South Parsons Avenue. They have rifles, handguns, shotguns, optics, ammo, eye, ear, and body protection. These guys have all kinds of things at the Bunker Depot. They want to educate, train, equip. A prepared community is a safe community is the motto behind Bunker Depot. Also, if you like or share this podcast or like or share Bunker Depot, my friend Jason Buck is going to put you in a raffle for free ammo. That's ammo for a 9mm. He's going to put you in a raffle for free ammo. We all love free. And like I said, just check out the Bunker Depot and like or share them, or like and share the Silent So Loud podcast, and you're going to be put in that raffle. Once again, I want to thank everybody for listening to the Silent So Loud podcast. We got Tony on the line, and we're ready to talk some football. Tony, you there?
Yes, I am. I'm ready to go.
All right, ready to go. So what are we going to talk about first?
Let's talk about that Bucks win last week. How about that?
Oh, yeah, the Bucks win. Right.
Yes, that was a shocker to me. A pleasant surprise. I had Minnesota really taking that game.
Yeah, who was picking them to win? Who
I don't
picked
think
them?
anybody did.
Nobody. Nobody. I didn't read anywhere where nobody. I didn't see anybody pick Tampa on anything.
Absolutely not.
So were you shocked, or were you just kind of like, you know?
Well, to be honest with you, like we talked about before, I didn't know what to expect about the Bucks this year. It's like the first time in a long time where I go into a season not knowing what I'm looking at. But after week one, I was actually very surprised with Baker.
Right.
His gutsy performance was a pleasant surprise for sure.
You know what I've been saying all week? We're no longer held back by that guy named Tom Brady.
Absolutely not. Tom who?
He was holding us back. He said he's a Patriot for life. I don't know if you saw the whole statue deal, but I can't knock on him. He did what he had to do here, did what he had to do in New England. So
yeah, I don't knock him either. I don't knock him for saying he's a Patriot for life. He spent 16, 17, 18 years over there, so it makes sense to me.
Right. It's just a funny joke. He was holding us back. And I saw, this is a little bit related to Baker. Netflix has that quarterback show.
Yes.
Well, I heard they're scrambling to find quarterbacks for another season. I guess Baker, they did an offer. He turned it down. Said he wasn't interested in it.
Really?
Yeah, Baker turned it down.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw season one. I loved it. I actually gained newfound respect for Kirk Cousins. I was never a big Kirk Cousins fan, but after watching that show, I respect the dude. The way he goes about his business, you got to respect it.
He's on my fantasy football. I'm in that 2-quarterback league. And I got Cousins, and I got Jalen Hurts. So, they played last night. I was wanting that, like a big shootout. I was hoping it'd go to overtime, but that's just me getting greedy, So,
well, he was hot in the second half.
Right.
So
Baker needs to quit running like a lineman.
Go to overtime.
Yeah, Baker needs to quit running like a lineman, though, like running like Mike Allstott, like Big 40, I'm like, what is he doing there? I mean, I guess he tweaked his shoulder a little bit, they're saying.
I heard. I think he'll be fine for Sunday, but it's something to keep an eye on early in the game.
Right.
Especially with our running game right now struggling. I really think the Bucs should go ahead and pull the trigger and put Tucker as the starting running back, and then let White, be the third down back and that catching running back out of the backfield, man.
What did you think of that stiff arm from Baker?
Oh, that was great, man. That was great. That's the kind of quarterback we need, man.
Right.
I'm actually becoming a Baker fan.
Anyone on defense that you thought stood out or anything like that?
I'm a big fan of Winfield. Ever since when we picked him up as a rookie when we drafted him, so always, I feel like Winfield, when he's back there and he's coming in and rushing the quarterback, I think that's where he's at his best. So if we can continue to put him in the box when we can, I think that's going to work wonders for him this season.
Yeah.
So he stood out to me big time.
What about offense? Who stood out?
On offense, it's a hard one for me, but Chris Godwin did his thing. Mike Evans scored a touchdown. I think he's going to have a big weekend here on Sunday against one of your favorites, the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, they look terrible. They look terrible.
Yeah. They still scare me though. But I think Mike Evans is going to have a big day on Sunday. We need to see more out of our tight ends. But if you're asking me who I think stood out on offense, I would have to go with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, Baker. Yeah.
Jeez.
And I'm glad that Mike Evans drama kind of worked itself out.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't offer him anything, but we kind of expected that. But I'm just glad that there's no drama. It seems like he's ready to just have a good season. Everybody keeps talking about trade. I'm like, I don't want to hear anything about a trade.
No, I think if they come out on Sunday and end up 2-0, I think it's going to work wonders for this team. I really still believe in my heart that Mike Evans will be back. Something just tells me
I think he'll be back too.
Mike Evans will be back.
Yeah, I think he'll be back. I think that it'll be one of those things where they make a big story out of it, but he's a very rational guy, from what we've seen. He's not pulling like Chris Jones, just sitting there watching his team. He loves this area. He loves being a Buck, and I know he wants to retire being a Buck, and I just feel like it's going to kind of work itself out.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I think so too.
I think he's going to have a great year, and he'll just be here. I mean, I would be shocked if there was like a trade. I know a lot of people are guaranteeing that there was going to be a trade, but I don't know.
No,
I just feel like that it would be
so.
Very surprising for me if that happens.
No, at the very worst, he'll test the waters in free agency, but then at the end of the day, I think he'll end up coming back home.
Yeah. Especially, he wants to be here. And I know we're like about a week away, but man, you said on that last podcast, you said that the Lions...
Yes.
You said that they were the team that nobody was talking about, and they come out, and I know Kelsey was out of that game. You figured the best defensive player, best offensive player on the Chiefs, minus Patrick, right? They came out, they did their thing, shocked everybody right off the bat.
Yes, they did. That team, I'm telling you, they're just sneaky good, man. Sneaky good. Nobody's going to talk about them. They're going to end up, piling up the wins, and then next thing you know, they're fighting for a top spot in the division, and that's just the way I see it. They got they have the Seahawks, I believe, right, this week. So
yeah.
I think that's a winnable game. I believe that they will be there at the end, so they will be making the playoffs this year. I still stick by that.
Yeah, and that would be, man, if you're a Detroit fan, can you imagine? The woes that they've been through.
Yes.
Their highlight's always been Thanksgiving,
Yes.
So, we'll make Eminem happy. I mean,
that's their playoffs right there, Thanksgiving.
And I think that Goff is just, he's not great. He's just good enough, which with that defense, that's all you need is just good enough,
That's it.
You don't have to be
manager.
Right. You don't have to be a Patrick Mahomes with that type of defense,
No.
Or I would say Josh Allen, but man, what happened there? Let's roll into that
Oh
game.
my gosh.
What happened?
You know, I don't know, man. He kind of reminded me of Dak Prescott.
Well,
back there.
In the Cowboys' defense, can you imagine if Dak threw that many picks?
Oh,
he would. I have to say this: if Dak did what Josh Allen did, man, people would be calling for Dak right now.
Absolutely.
Right. So.
The Trey Lance era would have been starting this weekend.
Oh yeah. They'd be like start Trey right now if that was Dak. And man, dude, he reminded me of the Winston days that we went through, where it's like he's gonna throw it, right or wrong, he's throwing it. Like he'll get you a lot of yards, a lot of TDs, and a lot of picks. Like,
yep,
right. I mean,
that's exactly right.
I mean, the big shocker, of course, is Rodgers, which I think we said he would get hurt. No disrespect, but we said he would get hurt. I didn't know that it would take, a few, a couple of plays and he's hurt.
4 plays into the season, there was just no way of telling that was going to happen.
So does he?
I knew with that offensive line that the chance of him getting hurt was, pretty high, but no way that I think 4 plays into it, we would be doing that.
So does he make like $1 million a second if you do the math, something like that?
Yes.
About $1 million a second.
All that guaranteed money? Oh yes.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Now, do you think?
So what do you think now? What do you think? So, Jets, Cowboys this weekend. Say the Jets get blown out by the Cowboys this weekend. What are the chances that Tom Brady will be a Jet next week?
0. I say 0.
You think so?
I say 0. I don't see. I think Tom's done. I think he's enjoying life with the kids, and I think he's done. You think he'll come back?
Part of me, I would say there's a 35% chance that he is considering coming back. And the reason why is because the Jets are a team that supposedly are ready to make a run. And to me, that would be the only way Tom Brady would come back to the NFL if it was for a team that was ready to make that run to the playoffs and maybe the Super Bowl. So I would say 35% just on the fact that the team is set for success, supposedly.
No, you know what I would do if I was the Jets? Well, first I said stick with Zach Wilson, but we know that's high risk, right?
Yes.
And this team is ready to go. I mean, Rodgers has that Brady effect. He goes to town. Brady's more of a jeweler than Rodgers, but he goes to a team and everybody follows him because they want to get that championship, right?
Right.
So they're ready to go. What I was reading, and I'm sure you saw it, it's been thrown around, is make a bid on Kirk Cousins.
Ooh.
Make a bid on him. Tell him that you'll give him a number 1 draft pick because you're ready to go. So it's win down for the Jets.
That's an interesting point. Like I said, watching the quarterbacks on Netflix, I gained new respect for Kirk Cousins. So I could see how that could work with Kirk. But to be honest with you, I still see him as a Niner. I don't know what it is, man, but there's something about Kirk Cousins to the Niners that makes sense to me. And I know they have Purdy right now, but you don't know what's going to happen, with him. So I don't know. That's a good question. Would the Jets take a chance on Cousins?
Right.
That we'll have to see.
I mean, because it seems like that they have went all in, and it's like now or never. I mean, people say there's that Broadway Joe curse. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but yeah, that he made a pact with the devil or something, and and that the Jets will never win until Broadway Joe is gone. I don't know. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Now, do you think Rodgers is coming back? That's like the big talk too. Is he?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do believe he will be back for at least 1 year with the Jets. And then after that, we don't, depending on how that goes, he could either retire or come back for a second season. I really think that the Jets will be his last team, though.
Yes.
So
I know the guy that did the surgery. I was reading about this today. The guy that did the surgery is the same guy that did the surgery on Kobe Bryant.
Oh, wow.
He went to a surgeon out in California. He called him the GOAT. of Achilles surgery. And I'm like, wow, that's something on your resume that you did.
Yes.
You did the Achilles for Kobe, and now you did it for Aaron Rodgers. You know,
Wow.
that's big talk. But yeah, I'm with you. I think that I think he comes back, and it kind of reminds me of another sport, baseball, where Mariano Rivera. Remember, he got injured, and Jeter's like, he can't go out like that. You know, he can't go out shagging fly balls, right?
No.
And I just think, I know that Father Time is not on his side. I mean, he'll be 40 in December, but I just feel like with Rodgers, like he can't. I'm not a huge Rodgers fan, but I respect him and I understand why people like Rodgers, you know. And I just feel like he can't go out like that. I mean, it's going to be tough coming back from that at his age. I saw a doctor on TMZ Sports talking about what it would take to come back and how doctors are actually interested to see if he can come back and play at that same level of play. But I just feel I feel like he comes back and he plays next year for the Jets. And
I think so.
And then maybe after that, maybe then he calls it a career. You never know, but I just feel like he cannot end that career in that way. You know?
No, absolutely not.
It kind of reminds me like whenever Brady had his final game with the Patriots, and it just did not go well. And remember, Tony Romo was like, "Is that it? Like, is he done?" And we're kind of like, he's probably with the Patriots, but not done. You know?
Yeah.
And I kind of got that vibe, like he's not done. He's just out for this year. And I read a funny story. I don't know if you caught this. So there was a bar in Wisconsin, and they made an announcement. They said if the Jets lose, everybody gets free drinks, right? This is before the game, you know, when it's all hyped up. I read somewhere that it was the most watched Monday Night Football game of all time. And
wow.
And so, they tell everybody, I don't know how big this bar is, but they tell everybody, if the Jets lose, you get free drinks, right? So Rodgers goes down, and then all the customers, they say they just start running up a huge bill, assuming the Jets are going to lose, right? But then at the end of the night, the Jets actually pulled it out because of how bad the Bills did. And so here you go. Here's your huge tab. So I thought that was a funny story.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And any big games this week in the NFL you want to talk about? Any games you got your eye on?
I know the sexy pick is going to be the Bengals and Ravens. Because it's the high expectations for both teams. But one game, please, Chiefs and Jaguars.
Yeah, I can see that.
The Jaguars are that's another sneaky good team, and not a sleeper team, but they're a very good team, and I would like to. I can't wait to see how they match up with the Chiefs now that they have Kelsey and Jones coming back. So
right,
it's going to be an interesting one. So I am definitely looking forward to that game.
And the Bengals, what happened? What happened there?
Oh wow!
I mean, wow. What?
Yeah, I think Burrow is just he came back too soon. He didn't have a preseason to work on some things, and the offensive line is still not as good as advertised. So
yeah,
I think that they're in for a tough one against the Ravens. Good luck to them this weekend.
Yeah. And I remember you saying the Ravens are the AFC team, and I said the Bengals, but I'm starting to think that you're more right, and I'm with you too. The Jags, they're that team that I don't know if it's like they don't have that huge market like some other teams,
right?
But they're just overlooked. You just don't hear a lot of people say, "Oh, what about the Jags in the AFC?"
No, that's a talented team right there. They're a pretty deep team that nobody really says, they have a shot.
Right.
But against the Chiefs, against a full squad that the Chiefs are going to have available on Sunday, I want to see how the Jaguars stack up against them for sure.
It'll definitely be an indicator. And, like the Bears are coming to town, And I favor the Bears. I mean, Bucks are my team, but I like the Bears. And man,
Right.
I watched that whole game with Green Bay, and
You did?
I watched the whole game. I was ready to turn it off, but I watched the whole game, and I'm like, are you kidding me that Jordan Love's going to be good? I mean, you talk about a franchise that has the best. I don't know if you call it luck. What do you call it? To go from Favre to Rodgers to him, because he looked good. He looked really good, And I'm like, is he good? Is Chicago that bad, or are they just blessed that they always have a good quarterback in Green Bay?
I get their stuff together this week. That's why this game kind of scares me for the Bucks. But I mean, yeah, Jordan Love. I mean, he played amazing on Sunday. But I think the Bears were also that terrible as well. So I think this week will give us a better look at him to see where he actually is.
He looked like he had been their quarterback for a couple of years, like comfortable.
Yeah.
He looked totally relaxed, like, oh yeah, like Rodgers is gone. No, I don't know if you ever heard of that guy, but I'm the new quarterback. Like, he just looked totally fine out there.
He did.
So
they look good.
Is that their key to success? That they make the QB sit there and watch the guy in front of them, and then once they're in there, I mean, I don't know. I'm like, I cannot believe. I mean, not that I was like a Jordan Love hater, but I'm just like, if this guy's good, right? And I know I'm getting way ahead of myself, but if he has like a Hall of Fame career, come on, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame. That's how it's gonna be. What? I don't know.
Crazy.
Yeah. All right, well, let's shift total gears and let's go to the other football, the college football. What do you want to talk about?
Well, let's talk about the Alabama Texas game from last week for a moment. Shocker. I wasn't really shocked about the turnout at the end. I was shocked about how bad the quarterback play was for Alabama.
That was shocking. It
was
totally shocking, and they're making a change tomorrow.
That is crazy. Right. Already making the change, game 2. But that worries me for this week because I'm a big USF fan. And what do you think the score is going to be to this game?
Okay, I know everybody's saying Nick Saban's going to be out to stomp on heads, and he's going to be relentless and run up the scoreboard because he's so ticked off from losing the Texas game. However, no, I don't think USF's going to win. But I do not think that it's going to be the bloodbath that everybody's predicting. And there's two things I want that I think about. Well, we already covered the one. They're switching quarterbacks, which, okay, I know Tyler Buckner. We didn't see much of him last year. Notre Dame transfer. He got hurt. But we did see him in that Gator Bowl, right? Got MVP, right. Played well. So, but you are switching quarterbacks, even though you're Alabama and you're elite. The awesome team of college. You are switching quarterbacks, so you just don't know. The second thing I want to talk about is, remember last year, Alabama lost to Tennessee, right?
Yes.
The offense was being ran by the USF head coach. Now, I know it's a separate team and everything, but I'm just saying he's got a vibe of playing Alabama. So I don't want to do like a score prediction, but I don't believe it's going to be like that, 50-3 or 65-10. I don't think it's going to be that. I think that both teams are going to score on each other. As what I'm getting at. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I see that.
I mean, what do you think USF can put up on them?
See, that's the hard question. I think Alabama will win big. Unfortunately, I'll say they win by 23, 24 points. Believe it or not, but I don't know how many points USF can put on them. But I'm going to go ahead and guess they will put at least 16 points on Alabama.
But here's the thing. I feel like if USF can get beat by, say, under 30 points. Like you said, 23-24. To me, that's a win.
It is.
Because, I mean, people were laughing when they saw that USF's going to be playing Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, Texas looked good against Alabama. And Jalen Milroe, he did not look good in that game. I mean, I know the first game he came out, and, man, what did he have, like 5 TDs, I think, the first game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's just out there lighting it up, setting records, and look like, okay, they've got their replacement from Bryce Young, and now all of a sudden, I don't know. And then you got to wonder, is a couple of things. Is Nick Saban jumping the gun? Or is he like, you know what, this is the easy win, easy team, so let me make the move now and see if it's the right move? Because I don't know how much you follow Alabama, but I know for, last couple of months it's been like, who's going to be the quarterback? And it's just been all over the place about who's going to be the quarterback. And I know Saban picked Milroe, but I don't know. Like you said, 2 games, and he's switching quarterbacks.
Quick. That's very quick. That's a very quick change.
Right. And I know he's upset about last year and, the whole playoff thing. And, I feel like that I'm not disrespecting Nick Saban, but I do feel like that they could lose like 2-3 games and he'll be demanding that they're in the playoffs, Right. And I get it. The SEC is competitive. I get it. But I don't know. I mean, but then some people say, oh, well, he's going with the quarterback that he should have started originally. That he should have went Tyler game 1. That he transferred from Notre Dame and that's why he's there. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know I said I wouldn't say a score, but let's say like 50 to, I don't know. Well, I shouldn't say 50 because I don't know if they can put up like 30. I don't know. What, you want to do a score?
See, in my head, I did have them hitting 50. I had a 51-16.
51-16.
Just because of, coming out of a loss like last week, angry against a team whose defense right now is not, there. Right. And I just see them running up the score. Maybe not early on. Maybe that first quarter we might be like, oh, they're keeping it pretty close. But I think after that, I think it's just going to blow wide open, and they'll get 50. I think they'll get 50. So I'm guessing 51-16 is my prediction.
If they do get 50 or 50 plus, if they can get in the 20s, I'll be happy. If they, you see what I'm saying? If they put up 50. And USF can pull out at least 21, if not 24, I'll be happy. To me, that will be like, well, got the critics wrong a little bit because I was reading right before we came on like 45-10. Another one was like 50-something to 3. Just acting like USF has not put up a lot of yards or points, which they have the last 2 games. I mean, they won every Florida team won last week in college.
Yes,
every single team, which Florida.
Well, remember USF. Remember Alabama is out of the college football playoff picture at the moment. Early in the season, so putting 50 is almost mandatory for them, according to Nick Saban. You know how he gets when he's not in the top 5.
Right. Yeah, he gets angry. He's getting older and angrier, And then Florida and Tennessee have a big game tomorrow night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that should be a good game. Florida came out lost that first game,
So what's the bigger game for you? Because from people talking, would you rather watch Florida, Tennessee, or Colorado State? If you had to pick just one game.
Wow. Well, there's that hype on that Colorado game because Deion's. It doesn't take much to disrespect primetime, in his opinion.
No.
He gets mad about a question. Yes. And I don't know. I'd have to say the Colorado game. I'd have to say Colorado. Yeah, I'll say Colorado because we've seen Florida Tennessee how many times, right? And
Yeah.
I'm not a big diehard Gator fan by no means, and that coach of Colorado State. I mean, you read the quote that he said, right? About
Yeah, I don't know why you would do that. Why would you give them, more of a reason to go out there and put up more points on you?
Well, you know what I was going to tell you, and I saw this right before we came on. Did you see what Dion did for the team?
Yes.
He bought them all sunglasses.
he signed a deal, right, with Blended?
Yeah. He bought the. He walks out and says, "We have a gift for every one of you." They all got a pair of shades. I'm
That's
like,
insane.
Right. I mean, it's like Dion is. I mean, he gets upset about. Like, I saw one media guy told him, obviously QB1 is secure, and wanted to talk about QB2. Dion got mad about that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean, obviously QB1 is secure or whatever? I'm like, he gets mad about a lot. He gets mad. He gets mad taking any questions. And
he takes things personal.
Right.
He takes things personal.
Right. And I'm like, I don't know why the coach, maybe the coach thought, or who knows, maybe the coach was just not even thinking and just felt that way, about whenever you're talking to adults, you take off, what do you say, you take off your hat and your shades when you're talking to an adult? Yeah.
Yeah, and I told him, yeah. He just, I don't know why he did that, and he felt the need to say that. And then someone was clapping in the background. I was watching the video, and I'm like, what? Like, I didn't understand that whole thing. I don't know why you would do that.
Now, since Dion's the talk of college football, and I mean, there's already, I feel like we kind of got to simmer down. He's won 2 games, and I get it, right? Mm-hmm. What, they win 2 games last year, I think, the total?
1. I believe
1 game.
1.
All right, so he's already doubled it, right? But I mean, I was reading one article where it said Dion will replace Nick Saban when he finally retires. I'm like, I feel like we're getting ahead of ourselves. Yeah. Another article said Dion's going to coach the Cowboys after Colorado. I'm like, I feel like we're really getting ahead of ourselves on this. But
yes, I don't see him in the NFL. I could be wrong, but I don't see him in the NFL coaching. I think he's a teacher, and he likes to work with the young players. I don't see him going to the NFL and dealing with that mess.
I don't see it either. And just because of the way I've seen him coach, we both know that there's a totally different way to coach an NFL player and a college player. I mean,
100%.
Apples and oranges. Yeah, I mean, they are totally different guys. And I've heard Dion talk about their character and, being professional, which is great. These are young guys that need to hear this. But if he took that to the NFL, the way that he lectures those guys, I mean, they're going to look at him and be like, I got a mortgage. I'm an adult. Like, you're talking to me like I'm a kid. And I don't see that transferring to the NFL. I'm with you. I think he's a college coach. He's not, and it's really tough to do both. I mean, there have been some that have been great at both levels, but it's just, I do not see that working in the NFL. No,
I don't. I think if he goes anywhere, it would be awesome to see him at some point in his career end up at Florida State. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean,
yes.
I mean, I know what he made a comment about Florida State recently that I know got some of them mad. I don't know exactly what he said, so I don't want to misquote him. But he said something. But he's been saying a lot though, which is really cool about Dion. He's always been exciting. And how do you think about his son at quarterback?
I think he's great. I think Shedeur is a great quarterback. Now, would I put him personally on the Heisman list? Honestly, no. I think still it's going to be. I think it's Caleb Williams' game to lose. Now, Travis Hunter, on the other hand, I would put that guy in the Heisman watch. I mean,
he's playing both sides of the ball.
Game?
Yeah,
oh my gosh!
He's pulling a Bo Jackson playing 2 sports out there.
Banging.
You know what I mean?
Dominating.
and dominating. I think the first game they said he played 87% of the snaps.
Yes.
I mean, who does that? Who plays both sides like that? So
incredible.
yeah.
So I do put him there, but I think here's what I'm thinking. So they play Oregon next. I think they will win that game, and then after that is the one we need to see: USC versus Colorado.
Yeah,
that's the game right there.
That's the game. That's the one that I think will kind of be like, if they're undefeated at that point, which I'm assuming they're going to win tomorrow, right? Mm-hmm. I'm assuming they're going to win, and then like you said, after that they play
Oregon next,
right? Which I don't know. I think
Oregon is. I said they're not as good as they usually are. They're having like a little bit of a down year, but even if Colorado wins that game, I think USC will be the game that they will lose. And after they lose that game, that's when I want to see how Dion gets the boys back up to play the following week, and how Shedeur, comes out after that, and so on. So I'm very, very. I already circled that game on my calendar. I will be definitely into and watching that game very closely.
Well, also I was reading, who worked with him, I want to say back in March, Tom Brady. Have you read that report? I guess Dion, when you're Dion, Hall of Famer, you can call whoever. I don't know how much work they did together, but I read a report that Tom Brady was working with him. So you got Brady counseling you, and then you got your father, who, in my opinion, I don't know about you, but greatest cornerback of all time. I don't know who I would put above Dion. I mean, the advantage of being a quarterback with that guy telling you, like, how defenses, what they're looking for, and I mean, wow.
Yeah.
It makes sense that he can be a great quarterback, because you got his dad right there, like, telling him, this is what they're going to do, this is what they're looking for. So, yeah, definitely interesting. Now, we talked about this a while back. What's the college team? Like you said, the Lions for the NFL. What's the college team that you're looking at?
I'm gonna go with a team that kind of dropped the ball a little bit. Still won last week. North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yes. That's a team right there that I think is going to go under the radar. Do I think they're a college football playoff team? No, but do I think they can be dangerous and be in the top 10 mix? I do. I really, really do. I like their defense. I like their quarterback. I like everything about that team. I think they are the real deal.
Yeah, that's interesting. And another topic, Georgia. Do you think it's too easy to say, hey, they're going to three-peat?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think it's too easy. It's too easy. I mean, as a matter of fact, right now, I think Alabama, Georgia are going to be in the college football playoffs. I say Alabama because they always find themselves there at the end. And believe it or not, I like USC. I think USC is going to be that new team in the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're that good on both sides of the ball. Lincoln Riley has done a heck of a job recruiting that team, and I think Caleb Williams is the real deal.
Well, Lincoln Riley is a quarterback-making machine. You know, if you can't play quarterback with Lincoln Riley, then you just should not be a quarterback, because that guy is good with quarterbacks. So
he's amazing.
Yeah.
So I do think that team will be part of that. So I don't think it'll be as easy for Georgia as it's been the last couple of years. I really think this could be a tough year. Can they repeat? Yes. Do I think it's going to happen? No.
Do they lose a game this season? I mean, I'm sure. Do you think they go undefeated, or do you think they play South Carolina tomorrow?
Let's see. I think they could go undefeated. I do. I think they'll go undefeated, and I think they will be upset in the playoffs. I don't think they make it to the national championship, but I don't see them getting beat, man. Not in the regular season. That schedule just it favors them all the way through the
Yeah,
season.
yeah. I looked at the schedule and I'm like, okay, who can be the one, because they're due to lose, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, who's going to be the team? And nobody grabbed me whenever I look at their schedule.
No, it's very difficult to tell. Who could even give them a fight.
Right.
Who's going to give them a fight, and I mean Auburn. Just because of just because they played each other. I don't know. Like I really don't. I can't tell you of a team right now that I see on their schedule that scares me. Um, to the point where I think they could beat Georgia, but I don't think Georgia's going to have an easy time once they make it to the college football playoffs.
Right. Yeah, I think the same thing. Like they'll be in the playoffs, but there's just something that tells me like it's not happening again. It's just
No,
it's so hard to do it, you know, to to
absolutely.
do it that many times. It's so hard. So I think the same thing. They'll make the playoffs, but they either lose the big game or they lose a game to make the big game. Something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
So who's your sleeper team in college football that you are looking at saying, this team might be somewhere in the middle there in the rankings?
wow, that's a good question. Um, well, to be honest with you, maybe because I don't follow them like I should, I'm really surprised about FSU being where they're at right now.
Me too.
You know, FSU being, I mean, right there. I know my neighbor. She likes FSU, so we were watching that Texas Alabama game, and she was rooting Texas all the way. I'm like, why are you cheering them on? She's like, I want to see FSU shoot up in the rankings. So
Hmm.
so I think that would be the team where I'm like, is FSU going to make the playoffs this year? I mean,
Mm,
they're looking good. I mean, like take that LSU game. I know we never talked about it, but I was thinking LSU would win that game. You
and
know,
so was I.
and then especially that coach, man, he came out and what did he say? We're gonna whoop FSU, or he made some
Yes.
dumb comments before the game, and then I felt like that coach like literally threw his team right under the bus. I don't know if you heard the comments he made after the game about we're not the team that
No.
I thought we were, or something like that. Just completely threw, almost
Wow.
acted, almost acted like he wasn't even the coach of the team. Like I had nothing to do with that. I don't know who these guys are. you know,
Wow.
which I heard he can be that way. But yeah, I mean, I know I'm not saying FSU is a sleeper by no means, but
Yeah.
I think where are they at right now? Number 3. And I know
Yes.
we're only on week 2, but that's kind of surprising to be honest with you because I thought they would lose that game opening and they wouldn't be right
Hmm.
there right now. So that could be the team, you
Yeah,
know?
and looking at the schedule, I really don't see. I mean, you have Duke that could probably give them a little bit of a fight. Um, and of course, when Florida State, Miami, that's always a fun one. No matter what the records are at that
Yeah,
point.
they always play each other great. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's a good one. Will they end up in the college football playoffs? That is a great question.
It would be great for Florida
It
because,
would.
I mean, there's a lot of FSU fans and I mean, it feels like it's been a long time. I know it hasn't been that long, but it feels like it's been a long time, you know?
Yeah.
Just like Gator fans, I know they look back at Tebow and it feels like it was decades ago. And then FSU fans look at Winston and feel like it was decades ago. Not that long ago, but it has been a while, you know?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well,
So yeah, that's an interesting one.
so I think we should end on that. We talked NFL and talked college. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate it.
Hey, no problem.
All right.
Always a great time.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, talk to you later.
Talk to you later. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Silent So Loud podcast. I hope everybody has a great week. For those of you that like and subscribe, we appreciate it. If you feel like that we messed up on any topics or want to add to the conversation that you listen to, feel free to write down some comments. And once again, thank you for listening to the Silent So Loud podcast. We'll talk to you later.